Greetings and welcome to the Cerebral Women Art Talks podcast. I'm Phyllis Hollis, your host. As an extension of my Instagram page, Cerebral Women, this podcast offers insights into the visual art world. I interview artists, mainly artists of color and female artists who will freely articulate what inspires their creativity. In addition, you'll hear interesting perspectives from dedicated art professionals who work with artists and the art institutions that feature them. I'm confident that collectively, these individuals will indeed stimulate your mind as they do our eyes. Please know these interviews are conducted in my Manhattan apartment, so please forgive the background sounds of city life. Welcome to the Cerebral Women Art Talks podcast. In this episode, I feature Sean Green. Sean is a techie who is in the business of art. Sean is CEO and co-founder of ARTERNAL, the first technology company to focus exclusively on bringing client relationship management technology to the art world. Essentially, he works with art professionals that need tools to help them focus on what they do best, which is sell art and deepen relationships with their clients. In this episode, we learn another aspect of what drives the art world. Welcome and enjoy. So, Sean Green from ARTERNAL. It's so good to interview you today.
Glad to be here.
We're living in a very interesting time. So let's just jump into it. So you run a company, you're the founder of a company by the name of ARTERNAL. Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to educate listeners about the combination of art and fintech. Tell us about that technology, what motivated you to launch the platform, give us an idea of the challenges and what your goals are. I know that's a lot to open up with, but I figured why not?
Yeah, we started ARTERNAL focused on the artist. It was a different name, back in 2012. But we focused on the artist initially. And then when we got into the New Museums Incubator program, we decided to focus on the collector. And then from the collector, we positioned ourselves with a focus on behind the scenes at the gallery. And it was in 2015 when dealers said, we really only care about sales, that we then said, okay, if that's the case, then we're going to build the number one sales driving tool for you. And, we're like, software is the key. It's funny because people are like, you're not going to be able to get any dealer to give you access to their inventory and to their high profile connections. And I was like, well, if you create amazing technology and they want to interface with that technology, they need to be able to leverage us as a utility. And if they think of us as such, then they're going to place their information in it. And we're going to help them, obviously be very security focused and, follow the data protection laws so that they can feel a level of comfort in working with our solution. And what we saw is that, hey, we're leveraging the cloud for our offering, and we're signing up several dealers to be a part of the platform. And we're like, well, this is interesting because we actually have a network of dealers who we're working with now. And it got me thinking that, dealers are essentially an intra network, right? Everybody has their own small network that they work with. There's a bunch of pocketed intra networks across the globe. And we're like, well, the art world could do more business and facilitate more connections if those networks actually spoke to each other. And we started talking about, building a marketplace for dealers to be able to engage. And then we started thinking more about, how, dealers have no ability to have peer-to-peer engagements when it comes to payments. And it's this sort of fintech focus that we're excited about as, we usher in the next wave of where art and technology will meet each other. I believe there's a strong fintech component there.
Interesting. Can you elaborate on that, the fintech component?
Yeah. It begins with, being able to offer tools that essentially you would, go to any major bank for, and then provide those tools to your client base, which is what, we believe that we can do and leverage with ARTERNAL. We have a base of clients who leverage our platform day to day. And, there's inefficiencies, there's payment structure inefficiencies and things like that within the art world that we see as a huge opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So before we talk about your clientele, I want to ask you, at any point, have you considered yourself a disruptor in the art/fintech world?
Yeah, I mean, that term gets thrown around, a lot. These like buzzwordy terms,
right.
And we're changing the game, which can be looked at as disrupting. I like innovating because that's essentially what we're doing. We're giving people better tools to run and operate their business, right? That's the ground floor. If people, how are you going to do anything if people aren't digital? And so it's about getting in on the ground floor, give them tools to optimize their business and be able to do what their goal is, focus on driving better sales.
Mm-hmm. So share with us who your clients are and how they use the technology to drive revenues.
Yeah. We have clients, small to blue chip, from, clients in the Lower East Side, New York, like your Geary Gallery or Andrew Edlin or your Natalie Karg or Miguela Brew, Chelsea, New York, such as, Hauser and Berth or Bruce Silverstein, Bryce Wolkowitz, or, in LA. Hauser's in LA as well, but like David Kordansky and Philip Martin Gallery, Anat Ebgi, different players, small to blue chip leverage our software. So we're pretty excited and several other, tens of galleries that are leveraging what ARTERNAL does. And the relationship aspect that underpinned, our first offering, to galleries is what's key. Like managing and handling your relationship is so inefficient if you're not leveraging great tools, because you're doing it across several pieces of software, such as, your email, your Excel spreadsheet, your Moleskine, back of a business card. You're managing relationship data, which is the information that you're collecting around people in various ways. And if there's no central nervous system to connect all the information and enabling you to be able to leverage that to be able to monetize, then you're missing the real reason why you're working. And our focus has been, well, if we can help you prioritize what your follow-up needs to be, if we can build sales pipelining tools, if we can help you understand the data behind engagements, then you can effectively understand who you need to spend time with and close more deals successfully.
So is this essentially like customer relationship management tool, CRM tool?
Yeah. That was the, we're now a fully verticalized tool that encompasses, your CRM, client relationship management, sales pipelining, data and analytics, online viewing rooms and things like that. We have underlying infrastructure that can power, these viewing rooms that you're seeing spring up across a lot of galleries websites. And
your clients, so can I assume that they all share basically the same challenges?
Yeah. I mean, galleries are essentially mom and pop shops for the most part. And then, oversized mom and pop shops, for lack of a better way to describe them. But your biggest gallery on the globe functions very mom and pop. right? And the challenge is, when you're very people heavy, which is what most of these galleries are, how do you put in processes and protocols that everybody can abide by, that allows you to run an efficient business and optimize your ability to drive a sale? You can only do that through technology.
When you first launched the platform, what were some of the most substantial challenges that you faced convincing prospects to take advantage of what you have to offer?
Yeah, the question, well, how's technology going to help me drive sales? I've been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sure Blockbuster knew what they're doing, and then they met Reed Hastings, and then Netflix now owns film, right? So the way how, we were combating that was banging on a bunch of doors until the first ones would open. Getting the ability to understand the existing workflows and processes, so that as we build technology, we were sensitive to the way in which they executed on their day, and that it would feel, very familiar when they're underneath the hood of our tools. And so when you're able to provide value that they're looking for, like being able to organize my sales, right? Not waste a bunch of time, being able to do hyper-personal communication at scale. Because these individuals need to send very personal emails to the 1% of 1%.
Right.
Across the globe. And how do you send 100 emails to these people and feel like you're on top of every conversation? It's impossible, right? But we've built tools, because you need technology, or else it's going to take you a whole day. Who wants to waste a whole 8 hours emailing 100 people, or 2 days, or upwards of a week if you get interrupted, right? That whole process you can build around and create better ways to be able to, 1, engage, and 2, follow up, 3, understand the data behind it, and 4, close the deal.
We spoke earlier, and you mentioned that you have some new clients. If I remember correctly, it was a large auction house.
Yeah. I mean, we've been having conversations with auction houses, and one of the ones that we're excited about is our relationship with Phillips. Phillips is arguably the third largest auction house in the game, and they've when you look at how most of these businesses are run, it's labor driven on processes that have been built over time that technology could solve for. And so we've been fortunate to be selected as a company that they would like to work with. And so, yeah, we're pretty excited about that.
Well, can you share with us any other successes that you feel we would be interesting to hear?
Successes, for us, there's some conversations that we are having, now that are abroad and overseas that we'll be able to bring light to later. But, some like large galleries who are, looking, especially in today around COVID, to be able to operate with a distributed workforce, right? The gallery has been very tied to this brick and mortar and art fair model for a while. What do you do when that dissipates or disappears in an 8-week period? You have to find better ways and means to work. Fortunately for us, our tools have been built day one as ones in which you can work with no matter, that don't tie you down to a physical location. We wanted to be able to, if you're in the gallery, you can leverage our tools across web, iPad, iPhone. If you're at an art fair, same thing, seamlessly move from your desktop to your mobile device, send an offer, track it, understand engagement. If you're on a plane or a yacht, wherever you are, you can leverage ARTERNAL to be able to get the job done. So when COVID hit, we had a number of our clients who sent us, notes, appreciating the technology that we built and the fact that we continue to iterate. And, they've essentially had a fairly seamless transition into our present day COVID world.
Can you comment on, are you in touch with a lot of these online exhibitions that are taking place right now? And if art is actually selling?
Yeah. So, art is selling. Blue chip works are selling. Works that were in demand are still in demand, which is a positive thing. I mean, nothing's wrong with the art world at all. I think the art world is in a great position. And, it's just this event-driven recession, if we're there, can use that term.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Depression soon.
The thing with being in that, in this COVID environment is a lot of people weren't prepared for not being able to have access to the way how business has been done. With the fairs and the online and the rise in the online viewing room, we're in touch with the clients that we have and how, we've been able to push online viewing room tools for them to be able to leverage. But also it's, we're starting to have conversations with some of the art fairs, because it's one thing to build the body of a car. It's another thing to have the engine underneath the hood, right? These online viewing rooms are essentially the body of the car, right? Most of them do not have the back-end infrastructure to provide the value that's necessary to their exhibitors, right? If you look at pre-COVID, what was the value of the fair? Well, it's an events business. I galvanize people around a physical location, and now the dealer does the work to engage and understand and size up, who they need to be able to drive a sale to or build a relationship with. Now, there's a stat that came out recently that says 75% of in-person face-to-face communication is body language. If you let that sit in for a minute, that means that 3/4 of the way how business is done, you've virtually lost. So you have 25% left over. How do you account for the loss? Well, you need data. That is the only way you'd be able to understand engagement and how you can drive a deal forward. And that is the value that the fair now has to provide back to exhibitors. You got to provide data.
And what is that data?
Well, it's essentially e-commerce is now what the art world needs to become, right? So you can think of most of the e-commerce players, like Amazon knows everything about their buyers. They have their physical locations. It's a beautiful use case. They have their physical book location. And then they also have their online books, et cetera, and accessories, et cetera, location. And then they have their online business. It's a beautiful marriage. And the art world, thankfully, now understands, because being forced to understand, change is hard, right? But when you, through circumstance like we have now, change is coming. There's a lot of things happening outside the art world where change is coming as well. But when you look at the marriage that Amazon has done, I think the art world can learn a lot. And that's what we're hoping to bring to the game. And it's like, well, post-COVID, digital is still going to be here. And how do we help you have that same marriage between your brick and mortar and your digital footprint, so that you can understand who's engaging, who's coming into my online viewing room, how long are they spending, what are they looking at, how do I remarket or how do I retarget them? E-commerce businesses are very proficient at this. And that's how you drive a sale.
So body language has been transformed. So body language is now how many times they view an image, how long they view it.
Yeah. What are they liking, favoriting, clicking on?
Right. That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I love technology. Not as much as I loved art, but I do love tech. And it's brilliant that you were able to combine art, tech, and finance. Mm-hmm. And prior to your brain discovering this potential innovation, what were you focused on?
Yeah, in my startup career.
Yes. I'm just curious how you segued to this.
Yeah, it was funny. First, I was a part of a startup hedge fund, back in like 2009. And then the market tanked. And, we were about putting together a hedge fund. Me and a couple other guys were working on it. We had the strategy, and then the market tanked. And then I decided to fund my first like full tech startup that was connecting homeowners and quality contractors. And it's still a problem that needs to be solved today.
Yes.
Can imagine.
Angie's List and all those, they keep trying.
Yeah. And so at the end of that, because I love creative stuff. And, I was filming before and afters for some of our contractors who are part of our website that we had built out. And one of the contractors was like, "Hey, I know that you dissolved the company, but, are you going to be consulting or doing anything?" He's like, "I got this property that I'm about to, demolish. Do you want to film the before and the after?" I'm like, "Perfect. Let's do it." And so I love playing around with editing tools and creating and shooting film and editing and stuff like that. I don't have time to do that anymore, but that was just fun. And so I was in the midst of doing that. And I met one of my friends in the summer of 2012, and she was working in Toronto at this particular time on Bay Street, similar to like Wall Street in New York. And she was done with like her corporate life, and she's like, "I'm going to become an artist full time." And I said, "Wow, this is like crazy. Can I come see your studio?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, she doesn't have this figured out yet." And she's like, "Yeah, sure. When do you want to come by?" I'm like, "Holy shit, she's serious. She's serious." And I went to her studio, and I was just like, "How are people?" I knew nothing about the art world. I was like, "People are going to come in here and buy this work, and you're going to be able to pay your rent?" And she was just like, "Yeah." And I was just like, "You need tech tools." And then I went down a rabbit hole to where I am today, building industry leading tools with ARTERNAL. Far removed from our artist focus, but
yeah, what a great space to be in, though. You get to work with the quants as well as the artists.
Yeah, right. Building algorithms and all that.
Yeah. No, it's great. Plus, you understand it, so that's always key.
Yeah.
You know which questions to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
So this has been a great conversation, and we should probably wind down. But so let's talk about post-COVID.
Yeah.
You have technology that was an effective tool in the past, more effective in the present, in the future. Well, art institutions, galleries, auction houses, etc. Post-COVID, do you think they'll be more dependent on technology or as dependent? Or do you think that will wane because people will start to go to, huge shows again?
I really think that it's going to be a different environment when we emerge from COVID and the destruction that it left. But there's also a silver lining there where, technology is, finally getting its due. Technology companies have been here for, a minute in the space, different varying degrees of them. But where we see it is, look, there's going to be a hybrid, and it's understanding what that sweet spot is for your business. They say it takes, I think, 21 days to form a habit. And so if that's the case, we're going to be well deep into it 12 to 18 months from now, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, you're going to have to make your business a digital business for, 12, 18, 24 months. And then as people start to emerge, nobody's going to jump right into it head first. right? People are going to sit on the sidelines and see how things are. And then they're going to emerge, kind of like, the dawn of spring. And where you see the animals, any animal that's creeping out of a hole is looking left and right and doing it gingerly, right?
There'll be a lot of that.
There'll be a lot of that before you find people congregating the way how they were at Freeze, at Basel, at the Armory Show, at Expo Chicago, et cetera, and just being on the circuit, right? And so what are you going to do in the meantime? It's, you're going to learn how you can be effective in a digital environment. And we're here, to be able to support that.
Great. Well, ARTERNAL, I love the business model. I love the innovation. And it's corny for me to say you should feel proud, but I'm going to say you should feel very smart because you're ahead of the game. Sounds like you're ahead of the game.
Thanks.
Because you were in the game before the virus hit.
Right.
So, unbeknownst to you and everyone else, your technology has become a vital tool for these organizations now. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate you and giving me a platform to tell a part of our story, which...
Oh, for sure. I mean, I love tech, and I think it's really important for people to understand its role in different industries. And this conversation, I was trying to take it down to layman talk as much as we could. And you did a good job of it. Right. And a real signal that your approach is smart is that you have all size businesses considering it and taking advantage of it. So, well, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you as well. Definitely. You take care.
Thank you for listening to Cerebral Women Art Talks podcast. For additional content, please visit cerebralwomen.com and be sure to follow Cerebral Women on Instagram.